Hello, everybody. You know, I'm really pumped because what I want to talk about now is not Harper much anymore. I want to talk about us. Who we are, what we stand for, and what we're going to do in the coming period. So the first thing I think that's really important is that this opposition to Bill C-51 that's come forward, it has developed a movement that has its own aims. And of course, the immediate aim of that movement is to stop C-51. And we're all together on that question of stopping C-51, but we're together on more than that. We have an aim that's broader than that, because this is brought, and every speaker has spoken about this, that we are here to affirm our rights as human beings. We are here to say that no longer are we going to agree to live in a society which declares that rights are privileges that can be bestowed on us and taken away from us again. We want to live in a society where rights are guaranteed. And we are not going to live in a society like that unless we build it. Unless we build our own organizations that stick to those aims. And then in every election, we make ourselves a force, but a force that keeps on pushing for those aims, for that new society, for something new to come into being. Before I came up here, one of the people I work with closely in ECAWAR, she said to me, don't forget to remind people about what happened at the G20 in Toronto. And the reason she wanted me to remind everyone about that is that right now, without Bill C-51, we have the violent assault on demonstrators. You know, I've been at this for a little while, and not a few weeks ago, they were showing on TV the Selma, Alabama 50th anniversary, and how shocked we all were, and we really were, at the vicious and horrible violence against the civil rights activists, against the people fighting for their rights, and the whole nation was galvanized. And Canada too. And now this is just commonplace. When the youth are attacked like this in the streets of Quebec, we don't even hear about it. When a musician is told she can't play her instrument because they don't like the fact that she speaks up and says that there are fascists in power in Ukraine, and she's barred by the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and that's barely a story, you know? But we're noticing. It may not be a story in the media, but we have taken note that this is a fight to build a kind of society where we have nation-to-nation relations with the First Nations, where we stand that all people have rights as human beings, that workers have rights as workers, that women have rights as women, and these rights belong to us, and we are going to guarantee them. So let's not be diverted by our aims. So yes, we have elections coming up, and it's very important that we puncture the arrogance of these stories. That we have our statement at those who are the, bosom buddies in their aims for society of Stephen Harper, that we're not going to accept the dictate of global monopolies anymore, that we want to be the decision makers in our own country. We want to decide our future. We say that the First Nations have the right to decide what goes on in our own territory. We say it's up to us to decide what kind of economy we want to develop and how we want to protect the environment. We say it's up to us, that we don't want to go go to war against anyone. We don't want to send Canadian troops. That we want to live in a country that's a factor for peace, not Harper's warmongering. So as a start, let's say that today that we're going to keep this movement going and right through and beyond that to defeat Harper in 2015. In the next 2 weeks, let's also do this. Let's also make sure that let's start the 5 for 3 movement, okay? When you go home, find 5 people like who weren't here today, who probably won't vote. Give them your arguments. Why? We have to get rid of this. Ask them, will they commit to call 3 people or speak to 3 people or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, 3 people, and say, will you do this? Ask them, will they commit to call 3 people? Let's have it so that everybody's getting called by everybody, right? Yeah. So let's, in doing this, let's say why it's important to us to put an end to this rule, and why it's important to us to keep building our own aim, our own organizations based on our own aims that will fight for that kind of society that we are going to bring into being. Thank you very much.